I got to catch up with my friend Steve Nalepa. Steve is a really cool guy. I've known him for decades. We don't often get a chance to catch up or talk unless the industry sort of brings us together, but we decided to take time out, catch up on life, raising kids, how we might raise musical kids, and where his life is taking him with his new music school called Futureproof, which is a really cool concept, and I'll leave some links. Hope you check it out. And I hope you enjoy this conversation with Steve Nalepa, who is an innovative, incredible musician that has a whole bunch of different projects going on. I'll leave some links. But mostly, I just want you to enjoy his energy and soak up his enthusiasm for making music. I'll let Steve take it from here. Hey, Steve, man, good to see you. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Dave.
Hey,
I know.
yeah.
What is it? Since like that NAMM party in Austin? Has it been that long?
Some NAMM party I don't remember.
It was a summer NAMM, which
Summer NAMM.
shows you how old long ago it was. Like,
Mm.
I don't think that even exists anymore.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, good to see you too. So tell folks a little bit about your background. I mean, I met you at M Audio way back in the day when you were working tech support in like the year 2003 or four or something.
Yeah, man. Old
Uh,
days.
yeah, no, 20 years ago. And so like, tell us folks, I know you've got several musical projects, including your own, and then you're doing some touring and whatnot. So tell people a little bit about your music that's going on now.
Yeah. Sweet. Yeah. My name's Steve Nalepa. I live here in Los Angeles. I'm a music producer. I've got my own solo projects. I'm in a group called The Acid. I also have different projects called Airspace and Sunfuels and write music and been working with my friend Kadene. And just I'm constantly writing and producing. I'm here in my studio. I've got loads of gear, and I have people over for writing and mixing and producing and help people finish their things. So basically, yeah, I'm like making music, and then I'm also sort of a technical expert, and I go on tour with other bigger artists running their kind of playback Ableton Live redundant AB playback rigs for them. So the last 8 years or so, I've been predominantly touring with Blood Orange, Chet Faker, and Broods. My first big tour was through our friend Laura hooking me up. I toured with The Weeknd,
Right.
Drake, before the Kendrick battles back 12, 13 years ago. So
Even those artists. Yeah. Good.
yeah, you've heard of those artists.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I've been a teacher like most of my life. I graduated college. I was a math major at Yale, played football, and much to my parents' delight, I decided somewhere along the line that I'm an artist. And I realized that I wasn't going to do the investment banking track that I was all set up to do. And I moved to LA.
Yeah.
And I started teaching high school math and science. And then had a very long, winding road. I was a paranormal news researcher. I did costume children's parties. I've worked on every TV show under the sun. I've done a lot. So I started an art book publishing company.
And what I love is this is all culminated, and I have this wild path too, but it's like all this stuff culminates somehow in here we are at middle age, caring the most about music education. And I got an email from you, and this is how this interview happened. I got this great email with some of your musical projects, new albums, and things you're doing. But the headliner was a new music school that's really thinking about things differently than I think maybe other music schools. So talk to me about that and like how did that and tell people about the music school.
Yeah, so we just launched Futureproof Music School. It was started by John Von Segern, who I think you might have met John Von when he was at M Audio, and then he's been at Point Blank and Icon. He ran kind of Icon School Collective for about 8 years, and him and Max Prototype from Icon about a year ago came up with the idea of creating an online school like with less overhead. The idea basically is really what it's about is like the mentorship. Like it's true, right? There's so much information out there that if you're motivated, that you can look up tutorials and watch tutorials and kind of teach yourself. But there's nothing that quite replaces the role of a good mentor in your life. And I've been blessed to have some incredible mentors through all the different projects that I've done. I would meet, when I started this art book publishing company when we were 20, I was 24, 25 years old, and I met all these old mad scientist guys. They kind of took me in and helped showed me the way. And I was like, when I'm old mad scientist guy, when I get a little older, I'm going to pay it forward and always try to, take these lessons I learned from them and try to uplift and teach the younger people. So I've taught in university level. I taught at Chapman for 5 years, and when you were at Ableton, Ableton did a real nice highlight of the program that I was developing there. And
Yeah.
now I'm like a grandfather teacher. Like a lot of my
Right. Right.
students have students that are teaching. It's weird. It's like
Awesome. That's so
it's
cool.
this kind of role of like the artist slash teacher,
Yeah.
where I always felt like people that are actively doing it are bringing more to the table than people who are not actively doing it. So, that was always the rub, like
Right. Right.
in the college, like people that were maybe tenured or whatever, but they weren't really kind of doing anything
Yeah.
currently.
Right. So talk a little more about mentorship. So like, what does mentorship look like at your new school?
And future-proof. Well, what basically
Yeah.
one of the things that we're doing is we're building a community online. And John Vaughn has created this AI called Kadence. It's basically a tutor slash assistant where you can actually upload your music to Kadence and it will listen and deconstruct and give you
Awesome.
really helpful advice on it. We've
Wow.
just trained this tool basically with all of the manuals, all of the it's just been trained on a very specific music and music technology sort of world,
Uh-huh.
piggybacked on top of the engines that are out there already.
Right. Sweet.
And it's pretty incredible. So it kind of removes a lot of the overhead of like answering simple questions that you might have of, when
Right.
people are new and they're getting started and like, oh, I only hear the recording on one side. Or well, you have the
Yeah.
stereo thing and your mic
Right.
goes into one.
Latency.
Easy stuff like that to more complex things of like thinking about your arrangement and your mixing and whatever. But it also helps like by guiding you through what you're trying to do. So a big part of what I always do when I work with students is like focusing on their intention and the intent of like, where are you trying to go with this? Like,
Beautiful. Yeah.
that's stuff that I've always been interested. Like, where do ideas come from?
Mm.
It's one thing to like learn the technical chops of how
Yeah.
you make the sound, or if you're
Right.
making bass music like dubstep and these
Right.
other things. Like, there's this whole world of people that make stuff with Serum and their sound design and the layers and the sub layer and this and that. Because those songs are it's a big kick and a snare and then this monster synth.
Mm.
And that's one part of it, but it's like, okay, what is your vision for your project? Like, where do you see it? So it's really kind of like the mentorship comes into, I've got these kids, they show a lot of potential. And so my role in this is kind of encourage them, like, okay, think about where do you want to be in 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, 1 year, 6 months, 3 months. Start making these short, medium, and long-term goals and working back. Like, what would it be for you, Dave, to be successful at your project? Okay, well, my success would be this. Okay, well, how do you get there? And then you start
Love
working
it.
backwards and get
Yeah.
more and more granular till you have like daily to-do lists where you just got to check. Because when you're freelance or you're kind of like doing your own thing, it's unstructured and you have a certain requirement of discipline to like stick to it. That if you
Mm.
don't have that,
Right.
it's hard. So we've
Right.
got our AI tool is kind of building a checklist for you and a program and a roadmap based on what you're telling it your goals are and the kind of music you like and what you're trying to do. And then that's augmented by the mentors who are coming in and
Mhm.
kind of checking in with you and
Oh,
helping to, listen. A lot of it is just like listening to tracks and giving feedback and basically kind of co-producing in a way. And I always give the caveat whenever I'm teaching is like, look, at the end of the day, you're the artist and the sum of your choices is your art. But this is what I'm hearing, and I've been doing this a long time, and you don't have to take my advice. I just want you to think about this and
sorry.
consider this.
People. Yeah.
And if you decide, like, hey, old man, like, I know what's hip, like music with weak ass snares and shitty bass is like what it's all about.
Yeah.
Sorry
Yeah.
for the language. If you can say, hey, like, this is the hot new thing, like,
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
that's fine. Like, but I'm telling you, maybe you want your snares to hit harder and your
All
bass
right.
to be a little fuller.
All right.
But if you know better,
Right.
I just want them to think about it and then make a confident decision.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because as you know, a lot of times they've just never thought like, oh, hey, the kick and the bass and the low end of the mic'd piano, they're all fighting down here in the lower
Right.
frequencies. And if you roll off some of that stuff,
Right.
and if you've never done that before, you might not have considered it. So
I mean, the low end thing, right? That's endless. It's like it can even really experience people. I find myself like it's counterintuitive to roll off the low end of a bass or the kick drum or something. And you're like, but wait a minute, that actually might make everything better, but it just feels like, why would I do that? It's a
Well,
low
you're a drummer where
it's just
it's especially
oh,
relevant like when
right,
you're using a lot of microphones, right? Because you
right,
get the full frequency and it's really about what is the important part of this sound. And
right,
it might be in the mid-high range. You don't need any of this stuff. And
right,
but it's also like so if you roll a little bit too much off and then something's missing.
yeah,
Like,
right.
I have an
The
old
filter.
analog, like a 60 that's got noisy circuits, but like sometimes you clean it up and you're like, "Ooh, it's missing that magical
Yeah,
vibe of that weird noise that was
right,
there."
right.
Put it back,
Yeah.
So
So people are going to get a taste of this mentorship from you, John, and other teachers you bring on board.
Max and PD clicks.
Max,
Mhm.
PD clicks. Okay. And then they're going to also have this AI engine
Got
to
it.
help them with all the technical nitty gritty sort of things they might learn. But it's really more like their artistic journey. You're really sort of like a Sherpa, helping them build this artistic journey. So not just like, hey, can you use Logic better? And it's like what is the album you want to realize? What's the artistic vision behind maybe the video you want to make to go with the album? What's the tour look like? What's the am I
It's the full
paraphrasing
picture.
that?
It's
Yeah.
the
Okay.
Yeah, the Cadence AI is good for, it's a 24/7 available. If you have any questions or you have a
Mm,
technical question or whatnot, or if you want recommendations for other music, it's just loaded with anything you can think of. And I really kind of challenged it of like, how do you make this, distorted bass sound from this Justice song or whatever? And it gave a pretty very accurate, like, this is how you make it. And so there's that aspect to it.
right.
But one of the things that we're trying to do is like, for example, I've got a series of classes that I've designed and made called creative strategies. And I'm basically
Perfect.
taking different artists and kind of educating them on what they do, but also like talking about their approaches and the significance of intent. Like
Mm,
it's really setting intentions and mapping out where you want to go. It's such a big point of it because like,
yeah.
it's noisy out there now. Like there's
So noisy.
200,000 new songs a day that are getting uploaded. There's
Right.
there's the AI battle. There's all these things where really it's about the creative journey as for you as an artist. Like that is the most important part of this. It's not
Mhm.
as much the end result. It is the end, the end result
Yeah.
is where you want to get to, but it's that growth of learning and creating because we're always learning, we're always creating. And I got
It's
to take my own advice. Like it's funny, it's always easy to dish it out to everybody else, but then you
it
got to like hold yourself accountable.
that's why teaching's good, right? It keeps us honest because then we got to go do it. Anything last you want to say? Like, how do people sign up?
Well, you just we have a website, futureproofmusicschool.com.
Okay.
And we also have like for free, you can engage with Cadence, our AI tutor assistant.
Thanks.
I'll give you the link so you can put it down
Okay,
there.
great.
But you can
Yeah.
upload, it's the only AI that you can like literally upload your music to, and
Yeah.
it will give you notes.
I
And it
gotta try
doesn't
it.
say
I can't wait
for it
to.
or whatever, but it's like, you know, when you're getting cooked by Cadence, you're like, damn, like she's tearing my mix apart. It's like, oh, it's like, it's like, damn, all right, I gotta work on this. But it
Amazing.
is very helpful. And but yeah, like we have a week free trial. We have a
Cool.
Discord that's open. And so it's an
And
active
like
community.
people can jump on anytime, or
Yeah,
they
you
don't.
can join, you can
No,
get in the Discord, you can get in, you can the site is basically where you can sign up. We have courses, we have a roadmap that you get, once you're an official member and you're paying like the monthly membership fee, you have basically a custom plan for, roadmap for you on how to get to your goals and kind of hold you accountable. But if you're curious and you want to just kind of check it out, you can do a week where you just kind of come in, check out some of the courses,
sweet.
come to some of the sessions, get the mentor sessions every day. We've got a different workshop. We had Max, who had an artist manager who manages a number of successful people, kind of talking about, this is like really good information for a lot of young artists. So like, how do I get a manager? Like,
Right.
what
Right.
does the manager do? Like, what are they looking for when
Mm,
they're going to sign like an artist? And so, just getting an opportunity to hear,
wow.
it from the source. And that was the thing that I always missed most when I wasn't teaching is the ability to have guests come in and share, because it's like the win-win, increasing the win, right? It's like
Right.
the guest is happy because they're able to talk about their work in a way where people are really excited to have them. The students are happy because they're learning.
Right.
I'm happy because everybody's happy with me that I like connected these dots and put this together. It's win-win-win all around. So, you know, bring it back to shout out Lane Burke. It's a great community that we're building, and you know, we've just got a good crew of people that really care and are committed to like helping people that are great teachers and great mentors. Like PD Clicks and Max Prototype are been, you know, and myself, we've all been doing it for a long time. So yeah, come check it out.
All right, great. I'm going to check it out.